What's going on, everyone? So, um, Dangerville dropped a video. I was gonna react to the other videos last week of Dangerville, but then he posted this yesterday, and it says the title of the video says "Proof SpaceGodzilla has always been in the MonsterVerse. Godzilla X Kong Supernova." I was like, I'm gonna react to this first before I get to those because if my it's my theory correct that he's been in the multiverse, he's just been hiding in those crystals in the heart of Earth. That's that. Anyways, the intro to this video titled "Proof Space Godzilla has always been in the multiverse. Godzilla X Kong Supernova." Um, there's also episode 2 of Spider-Man 2018. 2018. Episode 2 of 2018 Spider-Man game coming out this week as well. But let's go ahead and get into this.
What if SpaceGodzilla has always been in the MonsterVerse? This is Jacob, and I have evidence to support that the existence of SpaceGodzilla, or something like the iconic monster within the MonsterVerse, has been in front of us this whole time. Across the multiple movies and stories of this universe, there are small clues or hints that, while maybe not intentional at first, now lead straight to the cosmic horror SpaceGodzilla. But before we get to the theory, let's do a little trip down memory lane and quickly highlight some of SpaceGodzilla's wild side. Big, intelligent, and nasty. SpaceGodzilla is easily top 3 most powerful monsters Godzilla has ever had to deal with. His most notable aspects would be the gigantic crystals on his back.
Which got me thinking, with SpaceGodzilla being the villain for Supernova, is he going to take Suko, or will Godzilla Jr. finally be introduced? Not only that, people are saying SpaceGodzilla is coming in, that means Destroyer is next. No, not really. Not really. It's too early for Destroyer, and even if Destroyer comes in the next film, that's be the most stupid decision ever. And plus, I believe this came out in 89 or 94, Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla. And then we got SpaceGodzilla, not SpaceGodzilla, SpaceGodzilla, Godzilla versus Mega Godzilla, I believe. And then we got Godzilla versus Destroyer. But we got Mega Godzilla early. We got not Destroyer, King Ghidorah early. Like, King Ghidorah, that was a bit too early, if you think about it. Same with Mega Godzilla. But no one complained about that. Nobody. Kind of strange, huh?
The rest of his crystal corruption. His ability to levitate and make gravity obsolete. Able of complete flight capabilities through the skies and even space. And his clear obsession with power, control, and shaping, or better said, forcing anything and everything to bend to his ways. Remember this part for later, everyone. SpaceGodzilla is one of the few monsters in the Godzillaverse that you can truly say is evil. The only thing it desires is mayhem and terror. The complete opposite of Godzilla. In fact, SpaceGodzilla is a true shadow of Godzilla.
So I have the action figure right over there. Yeah. I gotta replace some of them because a few of them fell off and they broke. So yeah, I gotta replace it and then get more chemicals.
Godzilla in every sense, a literal dark Godzilla, the Sith to Godzilla's Jedi.
SpaceGodzilla is really the evil version of him. Basically, if Godzilla wants to set balance to humanity, and all that, and he wants to set balance in the war, he will kill everyone, every human in um on Earth, straight up. But he won't do that. Space Godzilla, he's like the evil version of what's that movie? I can't remember the movie, but basically, um, it was the good version. It was not like a kaiju movie. It was like a different one. I was like the good version versus the evil version. Basically something like that. But I don't know. It's like his evil twin brother, basically.
Either someone at Legendary had the foresight to leave breadcrumbs at a hopeful SpaceGodzilla entry into the universe one day, or out of sheer dumb luck. Each one of these prominent descriptions of SpaceGodzilla have some form of possibility in the MonsterVerse as we lead into Godzilla x Kong Supernova. But remember everyone, this is still just speculation with some evidence behind it. None of it's confirmed, and I like to be transparent with you guys. Out of this list though, nothing is more evident of the existence of SpaceGodzilla than the clear sign of crystal activity in this universe.
Told you. And I think that is the reason. I think that is the reason too. Because people are still complaining that it's too early for SpaceGodzilla, and really, like, it was too early for King of Nowhere. It was too early for Mega Godzilla. But we still got him, and it's still turned out great.
Keep in mind, just because Heisei-era SpaceGodzilla lore connections are seen in the MonsterVerse, understand that it doesn't have to operate exactly the same that it did in that movie.
Could also be that.
Ancient inhabitants of the planet Earth, it has come to my attention that Dangerville will be releasing a video covering SpaceGodzilla and this new planet-eating titan later this week. We instruct you to watch this video when it releases, or else you will be eliminated by our mind control monsters. If you refuse, there will be dire consequences. We will leave the lights on when you sleep, which will be like really annoying for you. Join us in Dangerville later this week for the latest on this intergalactic menace, or pay the price. We now return you to whatever it was you were watching.
Experience Japan on a journey customized to you. Explore future.
Back in the day, SpaceGodzilla's crystals were a direct result of SpaceGodzilla invading Earth, but clearly, the MonsterVerse crystals have been around for a very long time. The story creators could elect to go down the route that maybe SpaceGodzilla or something like him showed up way back in the ancient past, causing
Which I do think Apple TV and Legendary Toho should make a series about the ancient past of the MonsterVerse. Like, so say, let's title it The Ancient of the MonsterVerse, something like that. But basically, we need, I don't care if it's like animated or live action. We just need a story to tell that story, basically.
These crystals to form. Or perhaps they go down a completely new route and suggest these crystals didn't come from SpaceGodzilla, but that they will actually create him. Either way, an entire crystal ecosystem is already established in—
Don't know why that myself. But I didn't even think about that. Wow.
the MonsterVerse, and they even share visual resemblance with the OG crystals of SpaceGodzilla, at least a little bit. And in the New Empire, we witness some of the insane powers that these crystals are capable of, like the ability to contort gravity, completely erasing it from the local vicinity, powerful enough to lift crazy heavy titans off the ground like they were helium balloons. This ability to negate gravity, levitating immense objects thousands of feet up into the air, giving them the ability to float or even fly in the sky.
No, Godzilla was just having fun. Like, I ain't gonna cat. When there was no gravity, that man was having fun. He's like, I get fly, but he was just having fun, and it was just fun, man.
line with SpaceGodzilla's famous abilities of telekinesis and flight. It's not exactly space travel, but if these crystals carry the power to erase gravity, then it wouldn't take much to believe that eventually some Titan would learn how to take advantage of this anti-gravity power and use it as a weapon. So evidence of crystals that allow the concept of flight and telekinetic powers to be plausible is without a doubt solid evidence of SpaceGodzilla in the MonsterVerse. These gigantic crystals, aligned with the Hollow Earth's pulsing energy that can be seen rushing through the natural and unnatural formations of the environment, all clearly suggest an immense form of power that cannot be comprehended. Power that only corrupted monsters like SpaceGodzilla would crave. Out of all the Godzilla monsters, SpaceGodzilla is one of the few that was shown to crave true, overwhelming power. Most of the monsters want to destroy humanity or Godzilla, or shape the planet to simply fit their basic survival needs, but SpaceGodzilla was cold and calculated, doing anything and everything to obtain more dominance, more control, more power.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. That's basically what it was, I ain't gonna cap.
Addiction to power that the OG SpaceGodzilla had could easily translate to the MonsterVerse, where incomprehensible sources of power are just starting to be uncovered. Just think, if one small vial of energy could power Mechagodzilla so much that he mopped the floor with Godzilla, then just imagine how much power is truly in the Hollow Earth. So much power, unlimited power. Which, if you think about it, what happens when vast amounts of energy are completely consumed within a star until it's all gone? A supernova. Just saying. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. The events that will take place in Godzilla
I still can't believe people want to be Gigan, like, I'll say this again. I will say it again. Gigan was the first kaiju that made Godzilla bleed. Back in the day, there was only one kaiju that made Godzilla bleed. That was Gigan. And you want Kong to face Gigan. Kong would be decapitated. Straight up. And this is coming from a fan of both Godzilla and Kong. You literally want Gigan to be the villain for Supernova when he was the first one to make Godzilla bleed back in the day, and also with those blades on his chest and these sort of like knives on his hands. You really want him to fight Kong. Like I said, he will be decapitated. Like straight up. And YouTube AI, it was not for anything. It was just a basic thing that will happen in a movie. That's it.
Supernova are still a mystery. But I have another thing to mention about the powerful crystals and natural energy of the Hollow Earth. You remember the crystal shard the Scar King used to control Shimo, right? How and why this crystal was able to dominate and control Shimo is still a mystery. In the book version of the New Empire, during the final battle between Godzilla, Kong, Scar, and Shimo, we get a brief glimpse into Kong's mind, his thoughts. We get to read his thoughts about the crystal shard. And I'll go ahead and read the entire segment from the book right now. Kong remembered how the Scar King kept Shimo chained. Why did she do what the Scar King said? She hated him, and she was far more powerful than him. Was the shard part of her? It looked like it. Is that how the Scar King caused her pain? And over the time it's been since this book came out, thanks to the film pretty much ignoring any explanation of how the crystal shard works in the slightest, has led to a lot of fans thinking that the shard came from Shimo herself, which, even if it did, it just doesn't make sense on its own. We don't see Kong able to control Godzilla.
That I don't see that happening. That's also other thing that Legendary and Apple TV, Warner Bros. And Toho, they do. Make a series about how the Skull King and other, like, it doesn't have to be Godzilla and Kong, and that we can have other kaijus. If Monarch Lexi Marshall's work with this humans and a few scenes of monsters of kaijus between Godzilla from season 1 and this one. It's gonna be like Godzilla and Kong and Titan X and all different kinds of monsters. If we can have that, you can at least give us like a ancient story of explaining everything and also explaining how Skull King got control of Shimo and how that crystal that happened.
With his axe, just because it has a Godzilla dorsal plate attached to it. Now there's got to be something else to it. But maybe it is a part of Shimo, or maybe it isn't. It really doesn't matter when we are trying to find evidence of SpaceGodzilla. What matters is that this shard has the ability to provide an individual the power to control the most powerful of beings.
Yeah, and that's why now she is the very first Titan on the planet. So there's that. She's like the actual queen of the monsters before Martha became a day.
So for the sake of this theory, let's stick with the closest known lore about the shard, which is literally just Kong using his caveman brain to speculate on the shard's power. Sounds like me right now making this video. Let's use his idea that this shard is part of Shimo. Now, no, naturally I don't think this alone would grant Scar King control over Shimo, but what if the Scar King took the shard of Shimo and brought it to a place in the Hollow Earth where it could absorb more power, the ability to now have control over the shard's original host's body. It's pretty far-fetched, and this is a form of power that does not yet exist in the MonsterVerse, or at least hasn't been discovered yet at least, but actually not knowing how this works allows you to fully speculate that it's entirely possible that this form of power could exist somewhere in the Hollow Earth.
Exactly. And my theory about it, how I remember making a video about it, or it's like a video or post something, how the Skull King get that crystal was off of Shimo or what. I think there was 2 versions of Shimo, one a male and one a female. That big one, that big skeleton that we seen Kong and Zuko walk on, walk on, and the new Empire. I think that was the male version of Shimo, like straight up. I think that was the male version of it. Now that's just my theory, but again, we need like shows and series basically to explain all of that and explain more about the Hollow Earth before the humans, basically, and before the I don't know what the name is, the ones I can't talk about. Basically, you guys don't want to talk about.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44. Guys.
I really got to use it from them. I don't care.
If you think about it, you really can't imagine that the Scar King would take this fragment of Shimo to this place where he could force the crystal to evolve in its own right and now grant him power over Shimo somehow. And remember everyone, this power is granted through literally torturing Shimo. That's very important right now when we're talking about SpaceGodzilla. Because if you really do think about it,
is your, like I said, is your male version of Shimo that got killed, and he was still the this good how that war goes, basically. So time to skeleton, or Shimo had a kid that looks just like her, and that was the second Titan, but Skull King or one of the apes killed the child.
SpaceGodzilla, a monster who was shown to enjoy tormenting others, learned of this power. If the crystals on its giant body could be manipulated to gain the ability to cause extreme pain to even the most powerful of Titans, then SpaceGodzilla is without a doubt shaping up to be the most powerful foe yet to Godzilla and Kong. If this all ends up being true, he might literally be able to defeat them just by looking at them, and that's crazy. And all of this has left us with evidence to suggest that everything is set up to allow SpaceGodzilla to use crystals to manipulate enemies and channel insane power in the MonsterVerse. The crystals and power sources of the Hollow Earth are...
Sorry, pause so much, but if you would think about it, could Godzilla vs. Kong and the New Empire, could that be something that we up to this point, Space Godzilla? Think about it. If we went into the Hollow Earth in GVK to get the power to power up Mega Godzilla. Not Supernova, the New Empire, we went to the Hollow Earth and we won more about the Hollow Earth. We get these crystals, and then we get Skull King that could control the very first Titan and give up pain. And then now Supernova, we get Space Godzilla. That could have been the build-up point right there between GVK and GXK, the New Empire. That's just my feeling.
Are, in the end, all the evidence needed to allow the existence of SpaceGodzilla in the MonsterVerse, in my opinion at least. They're gigantic and capable of generating powers like flight and cross-dimensional communications through psychic means. And we can't forget about all the telekinetic stuff. An entire ecosystem centered around containing and utilizing this power. In a sense, the crystals and power of the Hollow Earth sound eerily similar to the world in which SpaceGodzilla tried to create in the Heisei era. And keep this in mind, everyone. Godzilla exposed to a massive crystalline radiation deposit could theoretically mutate him in unpredictable ways. You wouldn't even need outer space then. You could birth a SpaceGodzilla-like entity from extreme Hollow Earth crystal overexposure. Reality check, everyone. Still, this is all just speculation. There is no explicit link between the New Empire crystals and SpaceGodzilla. But here's what is true. The crystal concept now exists within the canon of the MonsterVerse. The crystal energy can interact with the world around it, including higher life forms, and the power these crystals withhold can dominate alpha-class monsters like they are mere kids' toys being operated by a vile creature. Coincidental world building or not, that's more than enough evidence that SpaceGodzilla has always been coming to challenge Kong and Godzilla for the MonsterVerse. Now to everyone, if you made it to this point in the video, thanks a bunch. What do you think about all of this? Comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. This has been Jacob, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Alright, that's the end. I'm gonna stop right here because the outro gets like copyrighted, so that's that. But yeah, as I know, like I said, there was no proof, no anything this yet, but the way it sounded that it could possibly be. But as I have multiple theories, but as I said earlier, what if Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, was the build-up point for SpaceGodzilla? And like they've been teasing it in our faces since 2021. That's just my feeling. And Dangerville, Jacob, Ben, whoever was in there now, if you're watching this, do you think that could be possible? Like, do you think that's like somewhat of a good theory? Like Godzilla vs. Kong and the New Empire was technically kind of like the build-up point to SpaceGodzilla for Supernova. But anyways, make sure to subscribe button, hit that like button, and I will see you guys the next time. Peace.